Okay, let's dive right into this. Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're decoding something I find absolutely fascinating, a hidden system behind literally every massive global event we watch. We're going to look right past the opening ceremonies, the sponsors, the giant scoreboards, and focus on the one thing we kind of always take for granted. So here's the question. Why in the world do we put giant, cartoonish characters right at the center of our most serious, high-stakes global events? I mean, think about the Olympics or the World Cup. We're talking multi-billion-dollar operations here, with serious global implications. And yet, right in the middle of all that gravity, there's almost always a giant, goofy character waving at us. Why? It's so easy to just look at them and think, oh, that's just a silly corporate costume to sell plush toys. But honestly, if that's all you're seeing, you are missing a brilliantly designed psychological tool. I really love this quote from our source material. A mascot is a shortcut to feeling. Just let that sink in. This one idea completely shatters the illusion that mascots are just, mere decorations. They absolutely aren't there just to look cute. They are highly engineered mechanisms designed to bypass our logical, overthinking brains and tap directly into our emotions. Basically, they're the fast track to making us actually care. To see how they pull this off, let's look at Section 1, why big events need faces and how they give massive scale a human entry point. This comparison perfectly illustrates the core problem every mega event deals with. Look over on the left at the event system. When you strip away the hype, a global event is really just schedules, corporate sponsors, massive concrete stadiums, and endless logistical rules. It's incredibly abstract, it's cold, and it's terribly hard for the human brain to latch onto. But then, look on the right. You add a mascot and the whole equation changes. It gives all those cold, rigid logistics a face. It gives them a personality and a memory hook. Essentially, it takes something massive and abstract and gives it a warm human entry point. Our source uses this absolutely perfect analogy for this, the signboard metaphor. I want you to imagine wandering through a busy, chaotic outdoor market. There are hundreds of separate stalls, overwhelming sounds, people bumping into you. It's chaotic, right? Way too much to take in all at once. But if there's one large, bright, colorful signboard standing high above all that noise, your mind instantly uses it to recognize the place and orient yourself. A mascot is doing the exact same thing for an event. It gathers up all those disconnected, noisy pieces, the games, the crowds, the TV broadcasts, and bundles them into one recognizable identity that your brain can easily lock onto. So how exactly does this work inside our heads? Let's move to Section 2, the psychology of the mascot, and why simplicity and friendliness always win. This secret here literally comes down to human biology and psychology. First off, we are biologically hardwired to notice faces. I mean, we just don't react to a corporate logo the way we react to eyes and posture. A face gives our mind something to actually read. Second, our brains absolutely love to compress details. Think of it like carrying groceries. If someone tosses you 10 loose items, it's awkward, you're probably going to drop something. But if you pack them all neatly into one single grocery bag, you carry them effortlessly. The mascot is that grocery bag. It compresses the location, the spirit, and the tone of the event into one clear, easy-to-carry image. And finally, we naturally seek closeness. We bond with warmth, not formal perfection. A mascot acts way more like a friendly neighbor than a formal, intimidating portrait. Now, what's really fascinating here is the deep psychological pattern playing out. When people dismiss a mascot as just being cute, they are completely missing the profound job it's doing behind the scenes. Just look at this alignment. We have a human need to recognize. Well, the mascot provides a clear face. We need to simplify. The mascot gives us one single image. We need to feel close. It offers a friendly posture. We need to remember. The mascot uses repetition. And we have a deep need to belong, which the mascot fulfills by being a shared symbol for everyone. It is literally a masterclass in behavioral design. Which brings us right into Section 3, translating systems into emotion, moving from institutional to human language. This is where the mascot stops being just a drawing and becomes a highly sophisticated translation device. Notice the stark contrast here. An event, as a system, speaks in institutional language. It's basically telling the audience, we are international, organized, and serious. And let's be honest, that is deeply intimidating. People just don't connect with cold systems. But the mascot translates that. The mascot speaks human language. It says, hey, you are welcome here, this is fun, and this belongs to you. Do you see that shift? It takes the rigid rules of the institution and turns them into a warm human invitation. But here's the catch. For this translation to actually work and be believable, the mascot can't just be some random character they pasted onto a poster. It needs what we call symbolic fit. It has to feel inevitable, and that requires three distinct things working in perfect harmony: cultural cues that point to the event's actual location or heritage, an emotional tone that perfectly matches the vibe the event is going for, and a narrative role that makes the character feel like it's living out a real story. When those three, culture, emotion, and narrative, align, the mascot doesn't feel like a cheap marketing gimmick anymore. It feels like it grew organically, right out of the event's own personality. And that leads us to its functional role out in the real world. Section 4. The mascot as your host, and how repetition and social signals bring it to life. Have you ever actually watched what mascots are going during an event? They're waving at the crowds, they're high-fiving kids, standing at the stadium entrances, doing these big, playful gestures. Now, these are not just random poses for the camera. These are absolutely vital social signals. Think about it. Just like a really warm, welcoming host can completely change the feeling of a cold room at a party, the mascot's behavior changes the social atmosphere of the entire mega event. They're looking right at the audience and signaling, "Come on in, you are included, we're sharing this experience together." Let's look at some real-world examples. Take the FIFA World Cup. Most fans probably couldn't name the official corporate sponsors or tell you the complex broadcast rules, but millions of people instantly recognize Zabivaka the Wolf from 2018 or Laib, that playful, floating character from 2022. The exact same thing happens with the vibrant mascots of local cricket tournaments in Pakistan. Through constant, repeated exposure across TV, banners, and merchandise, these mascots become the ultimate mental shortcut. A massive, overly complex tournament is instantly brought to mind just by picturing that one friendly character. All right, we've reached the climax of our explainer. Section 5, building a lasting human memory, and the shift from emotional design to permanent recall. So the crucial takeaway is this definition right here. A mascot is memory architecture. It's a system designed to help an event survive inside people's minds long after the closing ceremony is over, after the TV crews pack up, and after all the specific scores and details start to get blurry. We really have to shift our entire paradigm here. Mascots are not just people sweating in fuzzy costumes. They are essential structural supports for human memory. This brings our whole course summary together into three really powerful steps. First, scale becomes memory. That's when a huge, abstract event gets compressed down into one recognizable face. Second, emotion becomes attachment, which happens when that face feels warm, social, and genuinely alive to us. And third, identity becomes public, when repetition ties that mascot to the event everywhere you look. Ultimately, a mascot is far more than a costume. It's the ultimate translator, turning the sheer abstraction of a massive global gathering into something you can actually feel, easily remember, and genuinely care about. Which leaves us with this final thought. The next time you watch a World Cup or the Olympics or any massive global event, are you just going to see a silly costume jumping around on the sidelines? Or will you see the highly engineered, emotional face of the event itself hard at work? You now know the deeper job it's doing to make the scale human and the abstraction memorable. Keep an eye out for it. Honestly, it changes the way you see the whole thing. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep learning.